Hello and welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop, your one stop for co-op news and playthroughs. And today I'm super excited. There's a new hero out for Marvel Champions. It's Nova. There's actually 2 new heroes out today, so look forward to my other video as well on Ironheart. So I haven't played that one yet. This is my first one I'm playing, and let me tell you everything I know about Nova. He's wearing a space outfit? I don't know. I do know I usually don't look at anything about the decks ahead of time. This one I did have to do a little bit of looking at the deck ahead of time. I didn't look at what any of the cards do, anything like that. I do like to have a fresh reaction for you, but I did need to construct his deck, so I did see he has an aggression deck. Campaign mission, where you are trying to escape the Collector. We don't need to go into the backstory if you haven't played that campaign yet, but bottom line is you're trying to escape the Collector. This is an interesting one because it's mostly about removing threat from the scheme, which when I saw he was an aggression deck, I'm like, oh yeah, why not remove threat from the scheme? But basically, the theme here is you've been trapped inside the Collector's Museum. Before you can escape, you must first find the Milano. Now, I don't know if I can fly or whatever else. I don't know much about Nova. But in this situation, we got to find the Milano before we can escape the museum. And the Collector has 1/1 stats, which aren't too bad, but his stats increase by 1 for whatever stage it is. So right now he has 2/2 stats and going on up. When we defeat the Collector, though, you flip him over to a 0/0 side, and you can't be defeated on this side. When the round ends, flip him back over. So basically you get a reprieve for a round, but the Collector never goes away. So you can't win by defeating the Collector in this. You're actually winning by getting past this scheme here. When you defeat the Collector, you remove 3 per player threat from the main scheme. If it ever gets to 11, you lose. If it gets to 0, you advance to the next stage. But we do have this library labyrinth here. As a hero action, deal yourself a face down encounter card to remove 5 threat from the main scheme. Limit once per player per round. Well, considering there's only 7 threat on the main scheme, it doesn't seem too bad. But anyway, we've talked an awful lot about Collector and haven't gotten to the main attraction today, which is Nova. And like I said, I don't know anything about Nova. Apparently his name is Sam Alexander. His recovery of 3. Alter Ego action. Spend 1 resource of any type to search your deck and discard pile for a Supernova helmet. Okay, so one of those signature items that you need to get in play early. So I'm going to be spending 1 resource, turn 1 on that, unless of course I end up getting it in my opening hand. Add it to your hand, put it into play instead if you paid for it with a wild resource. Oh, so that's important. I do want to get a wild resource to put it right into play. So instead of just spending 1 to get it in my hand then paying for it, I can spend 1 to put it right into play. Watch, it's going to be 0 cost anyway. I doubt that because why would they say pay a wild resource? But anyway, ooh, what a stat line. Holy moly. The first thing I see him flying at us with his fist out. That's pretty good. But 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 defense. What the heck, Nova? After you use 1 of Nova's basic powers, ready Supernova helmet. Okay. So hopefully his helmet's pretty good. His quote here is, "You guys haven't heard of Nova?" No, I haven't actually. I beat up the Hulk. I'm a double secret probationary Avenger. Alright, so he is on the DL apparently. Alright, Sam. Well, you're a video gamer, you beat up the Hulk. Yeah, no. It's funny that they use the quote, "You've never heard of Nova." That's hilarious because, no, I haven't. And I don't know many people have. So it's 6 cards on that side, 5 on the other side. Pretty standard now. Alright, let's draw our first 6 cards and see what we get. Wow, I've just drawn a hand of 6 cards, none of which I've ever seen before. So this is pretty exciting. Lightspeed Flight. Double the number of wild resources generated while playing this card. So I guess if you use a wild to play it, it's worth double the number of resources, okay? Hero action thwart. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. And it's an event. Okay. Not too bad. So it costs 1 wild resource or 2 regular resources. Unleash Nova Force. Until the end of the round, each time Nova defeats an enemy or removes the last threat from a scheme, ready Nova and draw a card. Whoa! Alright, so until the end of the round, each time Nova defeats an enemy. Huh. Alright, well, again, with a 1/1 stat line, okay. It's still pretty good for 1 cost. Holy cow. 1 cost to even ready once seems real good. Alright, hero action. Attack. Deal 2 damage to the enemy. If this attack defeats the enemy, deal 2 damage to another enemy. Oh, that's pretty neat, and that's just a regular aggression event. Now, none of these are wild so far. Oh, I do have a wild resource over here, so that's good. Upgrade. After you play an attack event, exhaust this card. Your hero gets +1 attack till the end of the phase. Oh, and that's an upgrade. Oh, alright. So hopefully I have other ways of getting +1 attack. Hero response. After you play attack event, exhaust this card, you go max 1 per attack event. But it looks like you'd have more than one of these upgrades. So if you keep playing attack events, that's pretty neat. All right, I definitely want to get this out. All right, so this is just a wild resource. Let's see. Connection to the world mind does not count towards your hand size. Oh, does that mean I draw another card immediately? I'm going to guess that it does. So I will draw another card. Wow, a wild resource that is just free. Huh, interesting. All right, Moon Girl, play only if your identity has the champion or genius trait. So I'm a civilian on this side, champion on that side. Okay. A response, after you play Moon Girl from your hand, draw a card for each mental resource used to play her. She's 2/2. I mean, she's freaking dragon. Maybe a dinosaur, maybe a T-Rex. Pretty cool. Well, I assume Moon Girl's the girl on top of the dragon or T-Rex. But still pretty nifty. 2/2, 3 cost, that's pretty expensive. And Pitchback, it's an event. Play only if you have the aerial trait, which hopefully I do. I don't, but maybe my helmet will give me that. Hero response, attack. After your hero attacks, deal 4 damage to an enemy. So 4 damage. All right, so let's look at these individually. Moondragon, sorry. I like big dinosaurs, but you're too expensive. After you play an attack event, exhaust this. I'm definitely keeping that. 1 by 1. This is 2 damage. It is an attack event. Superpower. Until the end of the round, each time Nova defeats an enemy, removes the last, draw a card. Yeah, I'm not going to defeat anything this round. I mean, actually, I could thwart out the scheme this round. But it's a little dangerous to do that because that puts me right on the second scheme, which is starts pretty close to finishing. So I don't think I want to finish that this round. I want to get close but not finish it this round. Double the number of resources. Remove 3 threat from a scheme, although that costs a wild resource. All right. Maybe I hold on to this one. Ah, that seems good. I draw a card, but I mean I have to have a wild resource for that. I wish I knew what my helmet did, because that probably would influence me a little bit here, because it probably like generates a wild resource or something, which would be ridiculous. Ooh, all right. Honed technique requirement. So this requirement thing is new with Sinister Motives. So you have to play those even if you have 3 things to reduce the cost, and you could have this for 0 cost. You still have to pay those 2 mental resources. Max 1 per player. When you play an aggression attack event, if you paid for this event using a science resource, increase the amount of damage the event deals by its printed cost. Whoa. Okay, and that's an upgrade. Seems good. Max 1 per player. All right, I do have 2 of them in my hand. Ooh, I do have a double resource though. Interesting. All right. Well, let's start with this action. Spend a resource of any type to search your deck and discard pile for your helmet. Well, I'm going to use this wild resource. And again, the reason I have an extra card is because this card does not count toward my hand size. All right, let's see what this helmet does. Helmet. Supernova's helmet. Nova gains the aerial trait. Well, shocking, I know, because this one requires aerial. I'm really shocked that that was the case. All right, hero resource. Exhaust the helmet to generate a wild resource. Okay, so that would pay for that 2 resource thing for free, which I do have here. Huh, that makes me rethink. Maybe I do want to flip this, although that's tough. Anyway, let's go ahead and make sure we get some good stuff in play. Now, how do I knew there was a way to ready this. After you use one of their basic powers, ready Supernova's helmet. So it's very similar to Quicksilver, except Quicksilver readies themselves as well, which definitely does not happen here. When you play an aggression attack event, if you paid for that event using a mental resource, increase the amount of damage it does by its printed cost. This would go from 4 damage to 5 damage if I paid for it with a mental, which I got a wild resource here. So I think I'm not going to worry about the threat removal from Lightspeed. Maybe I can hold that card. So I'm going to spend 2 toward an aggression event, and then this aggression event here, Hone Technique, to put this Hone Technique into play. Then I am going to use my Supernova helmet to put this into play. After you play an attack event, exhaust this card and your hero gets +1 attack till the end of the phase. So that encourages me to want to do that now. The only problem is I don't want to waste my light speed, do I? I am just going to attack here. So my attack does all of 1 damage. Then I ready this Supernova helmet. Now I'm going to use Supernova's helmet to pay pitchback. So I am aerial attack, deal 4 damage to an enemy. So we got 4 damage here. And then this says when you pay it using a mental, increase the amount of damage by its printed cost. So that would be 5 because the printed cost of 1 here. Do I have to exhaust this? No. Then, after you play an attack event, exhaust this card. Your hero gets +1 attack until the end of the phase. I mean, that's fine. Not great. I'm +1 attack, but I'm not ready. So not useful. So I am going to do 5 damage here, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to hold on to light speed, but I am going to do this. Hero action, deal yourself a face down encounter card. Yes, I will. Unfortunately, I don't love extra encounter cards. Remove 5 threat from the main scheme. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll see what happens. I mean, I have 10 life. I do have 2 defense. Exhaust the helmet to generate a resource. And after you use one to ready it. So I hope I have some defensive events here because I would like to defend against this so I don't get punched too hard too early. But we'll see. I am going to hold on to this light speed because I'm going to use my helmet hopefully to clear this first stage here. So let's go ahead and draw 4 cards and see what happens. There's a double resource to pay for No Quarter. It's an attack event. It requires a fist, but this is wild, so it can be whatever I want. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. For each point of excess damage dealt to the enemy by this attack, discard the top card of your deck and add each aggression red card discarded this way to your hand. Okay, so that's a way to get extra card draw. Oh, we got another one of these fluid motions here, which is pretty darn good. All right. Chase them down also after a hero attacks and defeats an enemy. Remove 3 threat. And this is an attack because it's an attack event. So that is considered attack if I am not mistaken. Alright, let's go to the villain phase though. So they are just going to increase threat on here by 1. Then Collector is going to attack me. Again, attacks for 1 plus 1 because he's on stage. So that's 2. And 1 more would be 3. So I will go ahead and take that 3 damage to my face. Oh, I should have readied at the end of my turn. That's always useful. And then I've got 1 encounter card, 2 encounter cards. Attached to your identity. You get -1 to all your stats. Well, that makes me pretty useless. As a hero action, take a damage and spend 2 mental resources to discard this card. Okay then. Well, hopefully I have some mental resources in my hand, which I do. Although, chase them down is the one that's going away, apparently. Alright. Then this, Incite 1, so that means add 1 threat to scheme, which kind of sucks because I have a card that removes 3 threat, which makes me not as happy. 1 revealed, you're confused. If you're already confused, choose and discard a card you control. Well, I don't love that either because now that 4 becomes a lot harder to remove. Oh, yeah. How do I get to 4? I can remove 3. Oh! I can remove 5 with this, but I was hoping to remove 5 from the next stage. So getting rid of this, getting rid of confused. There's a lot going on that I don't like right here. 4 damage to an enemy. Oh, that's right. If I defeat the enemy, which I will, then that'll remove 3 threat as well. All right, so I got a way to remove 3 here, got a way to remove 3 there, and a way to remove 5. All right, so apparently this isn't as bad off as I thought it might be. The question is, do I do No Quarter? What's the benefit of it? So the benefit of it is I get to get more attack events in my hand. I actually don't think I care about that. I might just punch. I mean, I only punch for 1, so never mind. That's not going to be useful. So I do need to play some kind of an attack event. All right, so let's go ahead and play this Power of Aggression to No Quarter. So No Quarter is going to allow me to deal 4 damage to an enemy. For each point of excess damage dealt by this attack, discard the top card of your deck and add each aggression red card. So right now I am doing 4 damage plus 1 for this technique here, and then I'm going to get +1 to my attack. Alright, so this does 5 damage. That's 1, 2. And then it just says remove 3 threat. It does not say scheme, so it's okay. My confused is fine. Then we're going to flip him over to his other side. Can't be defeated, but doesn't do anything this turn. We'll see. Oh, after defeating, I'm going to chase him down, which is a thwart, which gets rid of my confused. So that works. Kinda, I guess. We'll see. All right, so I do have both of these cards to play. The first thing I am going to do is use my Supernova's helmet to flight speed, double the number of wild resources generated. Again, this generates a wild resource, which makes me happy. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. All right, so that is going to remove the last threat from this scheme here. We are out of there. Lost in the museum. The Milano is being held in a massive container. You try to pry open the side, but ultimately resolve to smashing the glass as hard as you can. Put the set-aside Milano support from the ship command and counter set into play under the first player's control. Luckily for me, I've just played this scenario, so I got this here. Ooh, wait a minute. Oh, I haven't tried to thwart yet. All right, so I'm fine. I haven't tried to thwart using my stats, but I do have to remember I'm -1 to all my stats right now, which, by the way, in case anyone was wondering, is not the best thing in the world. All right, take 1 damage and spend those resources to discard this card. All right, so I'm going to... Actually, I don't think I can attack here because I just realized I have a 0 in my thwart stat, so which means I can't thwart anything off the main scheme. Well, first of all, there is no points on the main scheme. But the other thing is I don't think I can attack, even though I have 1 attack because my attack's reduced by 1. But I did get 1 attack from this. But the problem here is that the villain can't be damaged over here. So I don't think I'm allowed to attack or thwart because it wouldn't change the board state. But one thing I also realized that I forgot is when I played this card here, deal 4 damage. For each point of excess damage dealt to the enemy by this attack, discard the top card of your deck and add each aggression red card discarded this way to your hand. So I should be discarding 3 cards because I did 5 damage and he had 2 life left. So let's go ahead and discard those 3. 1. Everyday Hero, it's a resource. Oh, wild resource. When your identity has a civilian trait, this card can be spent for any player and gains attack response. After you spend this card for a player, heal 1 damage from that player's identity. Oh, that is really cool, and I assume I'm a civilian on the other side. Oh, and it's a wild resource, which obviously we figured out Nova likes, but that is not an attack event. Well, this one is. So there's an aggression attack card, and the third card flipped. Ooh, Jesse Alexander, alter ego action. Exhaust Jesse Alexander, shuffle 1 copy of Connection to the World Mind. Oh, that's card. Connection to the World Mind. From your discard pile to your deck and draw a card. Oh, I think that's that card that was the first one I played, which was that free resource, if I am not mistaken. Yes. So, wow. When I'm on my alter ego side, he lets me draw a card and shuffle that card in. Pretty stinking good. Unfortunately, he's in my discard pile now because of that card that made me discard cards and I could only keep. But good news is I can get rid of this artifact now because I have the Milano, which is a wild resource, so let's exhaust that, and I have no quarter, which is a mental resource. So this requires hero action, take a damage, and spend 2 mental resources to discard this card. All right, so back in the game again. Thank goodness. So I do have stats again. So I have 2 attack and 1 thwart. Again, my attack is kind of useless at this moment, but we did finish this. So let's keep putting this. Put the set aside Milano support in the first player's control. Done. All right. Lost in the museum. So this is going to go up to 11 threat. So sorry I did that a little bit out of order because this actually should have all happened first before that. Now that you've broken the Milano out of its cage, use it to find the front door. Force interrupt. When the last threat is removed from this scheme, advance to stage 3A. Players win by advancing. If this stage is complete, the players lose the game. All right, well, let's make sure that doesn't happen. I have the Labyrinth. Deal yourself a face down encounter card. Yes, please, and thank you. To remove 5 threat from the scheme. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for good measure, I'm going to remove 1 more because I'm going to exhaust myself and remove that last that 1 threat, which again also readies my helmet up. So let's see. Fluid motion. After you play an attack event, oh, so yes, I will go ahead and exhaust this and we will put another fluid motion in. So now I have 2. After you play an attack event, exhaust this card, your hero gets +1 attack till the end of the phase. So I can do this not on the same attack event, max 1 per attack event, but if I do 2 different attack events, that's +2 to my attack for the round. And don't forget, I still have this, where if I pay for my attack event using a mental resource, it increases the amount of damage that event does by its printed cost. So this is kind of some neat stuff going on for aggression, where aggression actually has a chance to build up here and get stronger and stronger. There's other aggression builds that build up as well, but kind of neat. All right, so we are on stage 2 now, which would normally be bad, but in this situation, not the worst thing in the world. You know what? Because he's in this 0-0 attack scheme state, maybe I flip now. Now, he is still going to attack, even with the 0 stat, because his card does still get boosted. But it might be a good time to flip, even though I don't have a lot of thwarting power. I mean, he's not probably going to add a lot of threat, and the benefit of that is I do get to draw an extra card and potentially even heal up next turn if I feel like I need that. Drawing extra cards is always good. I'm going to do it. I'm going to flip over, go ahead and ready myself up and draw 6 cards, and who knows, maybe one of them will be an alter ego. Well, I do have this connection to the wormhole, which means I got to draw another one. All right, so let's see what's going on here. Unleash the Nova Force superpower, max 1 per round, hero action. Till the end of the round, each time Nova defeats an enemy or removes the last threat from a scheme, ready Nova and draw a card. Well, we've seen that one already. Fluid Motion, oh, that's a third one. I don't know that I need 3 of those. Wow. It doesn't say max 1 per player, but still, I don't know that I'll be playing 3 attack events around, but who knows, maybe. All right, requirement. This one requires a fist. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. For each point of excess damage dealt by this attack, discard the top card of your deck and add each aggression red card to your hand. That is my free resource. Force Field Projection, Hero Interrupt. When a friendly character would take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent 3 of that damage. If you paid for this using a wild resource, deal 3 damage to the enemy. Oh, now I wish I hadn't flipped down. That card would have been sweet with my helmet. With that wild resource, deal 3 damage. That would have been nice. That's okay. Ooh, Locust, new aggression ally that costs 2. So they are putting aggression in the cheaper ally thing, so they can have some chumpers as well, which is good. Aggression needed some cheaper allies. Play only if your identity has the champion trait, which I do on the other side. Hero response. After Locust enters play, add an aggression red event from your discard pile to your hand. Ooh, like that. And 1 by 1, deal 2 damage to an enemy. If it defeats an enemy, deal 2 damage to an enemy again. All right. Now, let's see what this says. When you play an aggression attack event, if you paid for an event using a wild resource, increase the amount of damage that event deals by its printed cost. So it wouldn't add 1 to both of the attacks. It just, the total damage it would do would be increased, which seems fair. So we got 5 threat here. Let's increase it to 6 and let's see what happens. So the villain schemes because I'm alter ego. Schemes for 0. I love to see that. And get this garbage out of here. I don't need to take more damage. I am at 6 life and I am not really a get a whole life kind of person over here. So this is a hero resource. I do have to keep that in mind. I cannot spend this on my alter ego side, whereas this one is just a regular resource. All right, let's see what the events. Oh! So that is my obligation here. While this card is in play, Supernova's helmet cannot ready. Well, okay. Alter ego action. Exhaust Sam Alexander. Remove this obligation from the game. All right. Well, good news is I am already on alter ego side. I knew I was smart. I did that totally on purpose. The villain schemes again. Well, good time for that to happen with their 0 scheming. Oh. Deal 1 damage to each character you control is the boost effect on this shark, but the shark coming in doing 3 damage. I forgot this was in this encounter. Yeah, I don't want to... You can't be low on life with these star sharks out there. All right, but that is still 0 threat added to the scheme because the boost of 0 and 0 on their stat line. Now, unfortunately, this phase is over. The villain comes back in with their 8 hit points again. But who knows? Maybe I could just keep knocking the collector over and removing threat that way. That might be the best way to do it. All right, well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to exhaust this to remove this from the game because no way do I want that helmet not readying. Unfortunately, that does mean I can't ready my helmet in extra time this turn, but that's okay. All right, let's flip over and maybe I hold on to this. When a friendly character would take any amount of damage, I think I'm going to try to hold this card. But let's see, the Locust, I don't mind getting in for 2, although there's no real easy way to do that, is there? There's only 6 threat on the main scheme. If I remember correctly, I want to keep Milano ready at the end of this to deal with the threat on the main scheme. So I think I'm going to leave the Milano. Well, maybe I don't flip it this turn. Even though there's only 6 threat, maybe I try to hold off till next turn when I'm ready and I can just deal with it all at once. But we'll see. I mean, if I end up killing Collector again, I might not have a choice here. Well, I guess I do. I don't have to do this action here because most of this just gives me extra. Although this gives me 5 or 6 damage right here. So then 1 by 1 would get me the other damage. So I guess it's not that inconceivable to think that I could get there this turn. Let's go ahead and, so this is prevent 3 damage. If you paid for it using one of those resources, deal 3 damage to an enemy. Yeah, I like that. Until the end of the round, each time Nova defeats an enemy or removes the last threat from a scheme, ready Nova and draw a card. Ooh, I could do that. It looks like at least twice this turn. So maybe I do that. All right. Well, we know for a fact that I don't need another one of these motion cards. So I'm going to use that to pay for this, which is going to let me ready and draw a card every single time I defeat an enemy or remove the last threat from a scheme. I'm trying to do both of these this turn. Although once it's going to happen both at once. No, not if I scheme. If I scheme myself, then I will just immediately ready again. All right, so let's see how this works out. I am going to 1 by 1 and use my helmet to pay for no quarter. So that meets the requirement because this is a wild. I have to use it as a fist. If I use it as a fist, I can't use it as a mental, that means. So maybe I don't 1 by 1. Instead, I use Welcome to the World Mine. That lets me use one of these for the mental resource I need to pay for this, which lets me deal extra damage equal to the printed cost on the event. And then this one I can use because it requires a fist. So I got a fist and a mental there. That lets me do 6 damage to the villain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, Collector. I'm just going to keep punching you in the face. I mean, that's what I do. Now, I did also play an attack event, so my hero gets +1 attack. Now, remember, I played this, which lets me ready my hero and draw a card. Makes me happy. Ooh, while your day has the civilian trait, this card can be spent for any player. And after you spend this, the player heals 1 damage from the player's identity. So, yep, I can use that to draw cards. All right, so I am readied again, which makes me happy because now I can punch for 1, which is my stat, +1 for this fluid motion. That is 2 damage. Boom. 1, 2, which is going to defeat the Collector, which will remove 1, 2, 3 threat from the scheme. We are going to flip the Collector over, which lets me ready and draw a card again, which seems good. Gotta be honest, not sad about that at all. All right, now mistakes were made a little bit here because there's still 3 threat. I could have removed 5 by getting rid of this, but then I would have to find a way to do another one. I do like this force field projection, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I defeat the villain right here and now and not worry about any of that, right? Yeah, I'm going to take that encounter card. Go ahead and trigger this labyrinth here and see what it does. So we remove all the threat. We have now completed this stage. Well, for the good, force interrupt when the last threat is removed. Advance to stage 3A. So let's advance to stage 3A. So this goes away. You found the exit. As the Milano bursts into space and readies its thrusters, you see the museum ship's cannons beginning to charge. Flip library to labyrinth. Uh-oh. I can't use that anymore. Place 1 acceleration token on the main scheme. Uh-oh. Shuffle the remaining cards from the set aside ship command encounter deck into the encounter deck. Alrighty. So, we got some ship command stuff going on here. Now, thankfully, Collector's flipped, so I'm not too worried about it. What's this now? Hold on to your butts. Force response. When the villain phase begins, choose 1. Either exhaust the Milano and assign 2 indirect damage among players, or assign 3 indirect damage among players. Well, isn't that special? So exhaust the Milano just to reduce by 1? No thank you. I'm alright with not doing that because I actually think I can use the Milano here. Yes. So let's see. This starts with 8 threat, 12, and it flips though, so that's not great. First player can exhaust the Milano to remove 3 threat. Yes, please, and thank you. So let's exhaust the Milano and let's figure out what we're going to do here. Well, I don't have really great options. If Locust thwarts, they're just defeated, which isn't great. This will let me prevent damage and do damage. This will let me heal some damage if I play a card. But I don't even really have cards to play. What does this do? Here response. After Locust enters play, add 1 aggression red event from your discard pile to your hand. I mean, maybe I just get back no quarter and just plan on punching him in the face next turn. And I got Locust, which will remove, what, 3? And that can do 3 more with the Milano. I can thwart myself, and actually I can thwart myself right now. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's thwart to remove 1 threat there, which will ready Nova's helmet. He's not going to flip till the end of this turn, so that force field projection isn't great. But how fun would it be to defeat him on his next turn if I don't defeat him? So holding that isn't bad, and again, preventing 3 damage is never the worst thing, especially with those stupid Sky Sharks in there. So maybe I do end up keeping it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and... do I flip down? I feel like I should flip down. Alright, I'm going to flip down so I don't die. Dying would be bad. And then I'm going to use this Everyday Hero. While your identity has a civilian trait, this card can be spent for any player. Response: after you spend this card for a player, heal 1 damage from that player's identity. So that's 1 resource. Let's go ahead and do 2 to pay for Locust. Alright, that heals 1 damage, and I get to look for a card. I'm not going to look far. I'm just taking this no quarter card here. Seems real good. It's hard to get normally. Well, it seems real good, I'm sorry, paired with Honed Technique over here is where it feels really good. And I'm going to discard at the end of my turn. I need a Fist. Well, so I got that, but I also need a Mental. Well, none of these, well, Force Field Projection's a Fist, so I'm going to go ahead and discard this. I want to try to get through these deck as much as possible, too. And I'm going to draw 4 cards. Let's see. Ooh, Pot Shot. Attack Superpower. Double the number of wild resources generated while playing this. Oh, we saw this at the beginning. Another one of those. Oh, so if I can keep readying myself with something like Unleash Nova Force, that would be pretty amazing to just keep unreadying that and going and going and going. All right, play only if you have the aerial trait. After your hero attacks, deal 4 damage to an enemy. Yeah, there's going to be lots of damage. Ooh, Lightspeed Flight. Double the number of resources. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. Okay, so wild. Yeah, Nova is all about spending wild resources. That is for sure. All right, let's go ahead and do the villain phase. So first things first, we're going to add 2 threats to the scheme. Then we're going to assign 3 indirect damage to players. We're going to go ahead and give Locust 1 of that, and we will take 2 damage ourselves. Well, we'll see what happens with the threat here, because now the villain is going to scheme. 1 point of threat there, which still puts me in range, I think, of being able to get rid of it next turn. We'll see how this all works out. So let's see what these 2 cards are. Oh my goodness. So it's 3 with Hinder 2, which makes it 5. When defeated, the player who defeated this scheme may draw 2 cards. Well, I'm not going to worry about that scheme right now. Attached to your identity, Force Interrupt. When your turn begins, place 1 poison counter here, then take 1 damage for each poison counter here. Hero action. Spend 3 resources of different types. Discard this card. Any player may do this. Okay, well, so here's a poison counter. My turn begins now. We'll go ahead and place a poison counter there and do that. I am not going to do any of this stuff. We're just going to have some fun over here, hopefully. Anyway, so I will use the Milano to exhaust and remove 3 threat from the main scheme. 1, 2, 3. Then, oh, forgot to flip Collector over. That's important because Collector is about to get punched in the face repeatedly. So we'll start by using Supernova Helmet to pay for Pot Shot, double the number of resources generated while paying for this card, deal 4 damage to the enemy, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I get this because I used a wild and I can choose what that's used for. So I believe I can use it for this, which would do 6 damage. I think that's right, but I'd have to double check. Even if not, even if it's just 4 damage, I'm going to go ahead and thwart myself here. Oh, and this says exhaust this card after you play an attack event. Well, that was certainly an attack event, so that gives me +1 to my attack because that was definitely an attack event and a superpower. So that's +1. And then I'm going to thwart for 1 point, which readies my helmet over here. And then I am going to use my helmet to pay for another pot shot, which again deals 4 damage or 6. I believe it's 6, but it doesn't matter. Either way, when defeated, flip them over, remove 3 threat. Yay! If there's no threat here, the players win the game. All right. So let's go over the last couple cards, because we actually didn't see 9 cards in Nova's deck. Oh, Miss Marvel is his signature ally. So it's a 1/1. After you play an event, exhaust Miss Marvel and deal 1 damage to her. Return that event to your hand. So after you play an event, exhaust Miss Marvel and deal damage to her. Return that event to your hand. So that's her special power normally anyway, is she can return events. So she works really well in Nova's deck because he definitely is very event focused. What the heck? Chaos Mobile Bunker. It's a champion vehicle. Oh, so maybe champion's going to be a thing. Is she a champion? Oh, I wonder if she is a champion in her main card as well. So it's champion vehicle, hero action, exhaust champion's mobile bunker. Choose a identity with a champion trait. That player who controls the identity may draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards from their hand. All right, it's not bad. It's card cycling. It's not card gaining, unfortunately. It's still decent. I think I would not go out of my way to play that, but I'm not going to say no. I mean, I was about to say it's free, but it's not free. It's got a 2 cost too. Force projection. All right, so he does have some defensive cards here. That's 2 force projections. I just didn't get them early. So that's nice because his stat line is kind of junk. All right, there's another chase him down. We've seen that. Flight speed, double the number of resources. So again, he's got 3 of these cards now that we've seen, light speed, and now 3 pot shots. So that's 6 of his signature cards, really doubles the resources when using wild to do 4 or 3. That's pretty good. Ooh, haven't seen this one, I don't think. Oh yeah, we do. We have it in play. Own that technique. Max 1 per player, but this one's pretty good. I like it. It's not easy to do. You don't see much mental in aggression decks. Blame that on Hulk, I guess. So you have to work your way toward it, but dealing more damage is always, I mean, that's not a bad thing, and especially increased by the cost of the card. There's some pretty expensive cards out there that do decent amount of damage, and then just adding that damage even better. All right, so this is the one where you get to heal yourself and get the underrated part about this card, this resource. First of all, everybody can use it, which is kind of cool. But after you spend this card for a player, heal 1 damage from that player's identity. That's any player. So that's the cool part. And then we got pitchback a lot. So there's a lot of duplicates in this deck. After your hero attacks, deal 4 damage to an enemy. All right, so Nova, there you go. Garbage stat line, but some ridiculous cards. In fact, some of the cooler cards that I've seen. I realize I'm pointing to some of the ones that are aggression here, but I'm talking about Supernova Helmet. I mean, that's basically 2 free resources. You get it at the beginning of the game. It only costs 1 and basically gives you 2 free resources a turn. So you're really going to hard mulligan to get that wild resource. If you have that wild resource, you not only get the helmet, but it goes right into play and it basically replaces itself. So pretty important to have that wild resource in your starting hand. Adding extra wild resources to your deck is important, and actually they give you wild resources with this one, right? They give you those this one, Everyday Hero, which you can spend from your alter ego side to gain that text. Now, it doesn't say you can't play this from your hero side, so this card is still actually ridiculously good for Nova. I can imagine you're going to run 3 of these every time you can with Nova, because again, he wants double resources for pot shots. He wants it for his other events as well, so it makes a lot of sense. Nova's pretty good and pretty fun. I mean, very different from any hero I've seen. I was kind of thinking he was like going to be like Quicksilver with a garbage stat line, but no, not like Quicksilver at all. These fluid motions I think are going to add to some aggression decks for 1 cost, and you can have up to 3 of them in play for +3 attack each time you attack. So actually thinking back to Quicksilver aggression just got a heck of a lot better. Not that it was bad to begin with, but if you can imagine Quicksilver with these attack events getting up to +3, and then he could get +1 to his stat line based on cards in his deck already and another +1. So yeah, he could be up to 6 attacking multiple times. Seems pretty good. I mean, seems pretty unlikely as well, but seems pretty good. Hone technique, I don't know. All these cards, I could see them in decks. And I know that Aggression is very happy to see a 2-cost ally for sure. +1 that gives you an aggression event right from your discard pile, so something you've already played, maybe even this turn, is pretty nice addition. Now, 1 thwart with 2 consequential damage from it, considering they only have 2 life, I mean, you're gonna save that for necessary, that is for sure. But anyway, no, Nova's really fun. I am super excited by the design of this one. I didn't know anything about Nova before we started. Seems like a very fun character. And yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing what Ironheart has to bring. So far, we're 1 for 1. I think this is a really good champion, and I think it really does a lot for aggression at the same time. So Nova, definite thumbs up from me. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and we will see you soon. Bye!